that the UPND were going to be a worse government than the PF. And the best thing to do was to come and contribute through the PF to make sure that certain things the people were complaining about are sorted out in order for us to move forward. And that is exactly what I'm doing today.
You wanted to contribute, but suddenly your contribution did not work any magic, because you're one of the major campaigners for the PF in August, but you lost the election, so there was no effect. But
that is the name of democracy.
But the key question...
In democracy, there is a winner and a loser.
But the key question, what changed really? Were you paid by the PF? Because you told this country, you told us that Lungu was a curse to this country. Those were your words. You said the PF government was corrupt, killing people with expired medicines. You were holding these press briefings. We were carrying them live. You called Lungu a curse to this country. What changed?
President Edgar Lungu is not PF. Chishimba Kambwili is not PF.
You weren't campaigning for a president who was a curse to this country.
I was campaigning for PF and its presidents.
Who is a curse to this country in your way?
With a view to help correct the wrongs that were happening.
Did you correct the curse in him?
I mean, we lost the elections, and obviously we are not in government. If we were in government, yes, I was going to correct all the wrongs that I was observing. I was going to give my views, and if my views are not taken, so be it.
Because expelled you again?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think they were going to expel me, because before I joined, we agreed on how we are going to go forward, and that we should start listening to what the people want.
Would you share with the public what that agreement was? And again, we want you to put this on record. You also complained during your court appearances that despite so many people supporting you, nobody helped you pay court fees, nobody was with you there. Was that part of the deal? Did you discuss your cases being removed? Was that the reason why you went back to the PF to lap your own, vomit?
Certainly not. Certainly not. I had 2 cases left before I left PF, and I was acquitted on the case after PF had lost office. I said, and I want to say it again, that all the 10-9 cases that I was given were made up, fabricated cases.
By who?
Because I've said...
By who?
That's a story for another day.
By
I have said
the PF.
That's a story for another day. But what is important is I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I went through. All the people that did to me, I've forgiven them wholeheartedly. And I want them to look at me as an example so that they do not do such things to other people. And those who are in government today should not aim at revenge, because vengeance is for God. So for me, what happened to me is water under the bridge.
It's water
but it must be a lesson. It must be a lesson to those who are given power that they should not do such things to innocent people.
You say it's water under the bridge, but it's very important for you as a leader to be consistent for the sake of the people you lead and the Zambian people. You said on my program last year that you had been squeezed to an extent that your businesses were not making money, your trucks were not being given business, and so you complained and affirmed that you were squeezed, you were just going to court and so on. Did the PF pay you to get back to them? Because whether we like it or not, Dr. Kambwili, just hold on, whether we like it or not, the PF, for a fact, put it on record in their internal meetings that you were a thorn. You were a thorn to them winning an election. And an election, a PF without a Kambwili, was a lost election. Did they pay you to get back? Because all of a sudden now, there's dollars missing in your safes and all these. Were you paid?
I can challenge anybody in the PF today, anybody, if there's anybody who gave me not even one kwacha. It was my conscience. And for you to say that my trucks were not doing business in Zambia, that does not mean my trucks could not do business in the Congo.
No, it's here. That's here where you complained that they're
yes, I was squeezed internally. But I'm a shrewd businessman. I'm a shrewd politician. Despite being squeezed, I had plan B. My trucks were working in the Congo. My trucks were working in Namibia. So
you were doing
it doesn't mean that when I'm squeezed, then I don't have any means.
So those were crocodile tears when you were telling us you couldn't pay fees properly and things like that?
When, in my language, when you want to see 50 people, then they come 2 people. We say, that does not mean that there are only 2 people. There are 50. You expected to meet 1,000, only 50 comes. So when I say I'm squeezed, because the level at which I was financially had dropped very badly to a level where at least I was able to survive. At least I was able to survive. But I was squeezed. I couldn't have business in Zambia, but I had to make plan B.
So there were no deals cut?
No deals cut whatsoever. Anybody can come here. How do you
explain all of a sudden that money started flowing from a squeezed person, that you were keeping thousands
I've just told you that my trucks were working in the Congo, and in the Congo you work in dollars. You don't work in kwacha, or you don't work in shillings. You work for the dollars. So the possibility of me having money in my house and stolen is there. And you know the reason why people keep dollars in the house, because to the bank today, when you go to the bank today, you can only draw 5,000 kwacha per day, $5,000 per day. Now, if you are doing a business like in the Congo, you need fuel time and again, how would you keep that money in the bank, because you will not have access to it when you want it?
What then would you say, for sake of clarity, on this matter? You've completely left, the NDC. Don't you regret that, some of your former colleagues now are in government with something that you started, and now you've just left it along the way? You've produced ministers through the NDC alliance.
In life, there is what we call destiny and fate. And not everything that glitter is gold. Being in government is one thing, but being in a wrong government and a performing government is another thing. I wouldn't have wanted to be part of this failure that we are seeing now. This government which tells you something today and does the opposite. For instance, they were saying that PF were stealing on the fertilizer because they were buying fertilizer from the suppliers at $1,000 per ton. Today, they've given a contract to supply fertilizer to the government from a non-businessman at $1,400 per ton. When they were saying, when we come, we'll make sure that we'll lower the cost from $1,000 to probably about $700 per ton.
Probably that's the market price.
Today, the same people.
What is the current market price of fertilizer on the international market?
Well, they gave another a contract, same period, to nitrogen chemicals to supply at $1,000. Then they gave this other businessman who is connected to them at $1,400. What do you call that?
Well, probably they're hidden costs.
What hidden costs? They promised the people Costa. But when we come, they said the $1,000 is well beyond.
But Dr. Kambwili, just like President Lungu used to say, when corruption allegations are leveled, show me the evidence.
This is the evidence.
Why isn't this being reported?
This is the evidence.
Why not report it?
You see, this idea of Zambians saying when you have evidence like this, unless you report, that's when people will be followed up, should come to an end. It is all over social media. It is all over. It is in public domain.
But social media is not evidence you put before a court.
It is the duty of the Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate all allegations. They should not wait until somebody reports. Look, on the supply of fuel, a man who went and bought is it a necktie or a jacket for the president at 2.5 million, 2 months later is given a contract to supply fuel and oil. All those
are unsubstantiated allegations. Whether a man buys a tie or a jacket just like you,
My dear brother,
just hold on. Just like you, if he does business, should he not participate in doing business with government?
My dear brother, these are things that we should avoid.
No, but if he's a Zambian and he's got the capacity to supply fuel, what is wrong with that, Honorable Kambwili?
How about the other people who were not picked?
What is wrong with that?
How about the other people who were not picked, who had given the same quotation?
But just like in your party, PF, they were friends of the party supplying fuel, friends of the party supplying fertilizer.
That is why the PF is out of government. And because we are out of government, we are now reflecting on these mistakes. And we are telling the people of Zambia, we are sorry about these things that were done wrongly. And once entrusted with the power again, these things will never happen. But our friends have started doing exactly what they were condemning.
But if
this is the most unfortunate
if you're saying
part.
These things will never happen, how will they not happen if you're maintaining the same crop of leaders, if you're maintaining the same old ways of doing things as a peer? Because we haven't seen you rebrand. What we are seeing is just a collective number of people grouping together against arrests, but it's still the same old rank and file.
We are still rebranding. We have not finished the rebranding, Costa, for you to say that we are seeing the same people. We are going to the convention. A new leadership will be ushered into office. Wait until that is done. For you to say that we are seeing the same people and you are not changing the ways, it's too early to say that.
You say it's too early for us to judge the PF to have rebranded. Is it not too early to judge the UPND?
We have not rebranded.
Isn't it too early to judge the UPND?
We have not.
5 months into government?
We have. Do you need 5 months for one to tell you that selling fertilizer to the government at $1,000 is theft, is corruption? Then which
hasn't been proven.
It has been proven.
Unless somebody is convicted before a competent court of jurisdiction, it will still be social media banter.
I think
if nobody reports it, will still be social media banter.
I think this is a problem that we have.
What has been proven is that somebody stashed 65 million kwacha in the house and they forfeited it to the state. That is proof. But as long as it's social media banter, Honorable Kambwili, we cannot accept it as daylight corruption. Unless somebody is convicted.
Costa. The problem that you, the media, have, you are so scared of governments in power. And I'm not here for you to ask me whether it has been proved or not. It is a fact that Mr. Janguru has been given a contract to supply fertilizer at $1,400 per dollar. $1,400 per ton. When they were condemning PF,
I've asked you what is the international price on the market.
I've told you also to say that in the same period, they have given a contract to nitrogen chemicals to supply at 1,000. Why should they give a parastatal to supply at 1,000 and give a private company
and other factors?
They should not have gone to him. They should have bought from.
I'll give you another example.
They should listen. You are saying if it is importing and there are associated costs, they should have not gone to buy from him. They should have bought from nitrogen chemicals, who are 1,000.
When you were the Dr. Kambwili, we knew who stood for the people. For example, over the
I have always stood for the people.
Let me justify my statement.
Yes.
During the fire tender scandal, during the ambulance scandal, the Dr. Kambwili we know will produce evidence of how much at Toyota an ambulance or a truck would cost, what the international price of. That's the Dr. Kambwili we know who would give us comparison. So why haven't you gone deeper to be the Dr. Kambwili and lay the evidence on the table?
When we are coming for an interview, you don't tell me what questions you are going to ask. So I would have known that the issue of the fertilizer
issue is you who's brought it up, and it's been in the public domain. This debate
it has only come. I have proved it myself. I have proved it. I've asked the people who are in charge of buying fertilizer at Ministry of Agriculture, and they've confirmed. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't want to be part of a government like UPND, which you turns on almost everything that they said. They promised people that we're going to reduce fuel. When I was going around, I told the people, there is no way that UPND can come and reduce petrol. And I gave reasons. I said, look, we are selling fuel in Zambia at 17 kwacha per liter. The reason is that there are subsidies there. We've suspended taxes. We've suspended the 3-kwacha fuel levy in order for us to reach at 17 kwacha. Above all, what we've been doing is that the 3-kwacha fuel levy that we're collecting was being put aside, such that when the international prices come, then we take that 3-kwacha to subsidize. But for you, PND, to say, no, we'll do this, and the pump price will come to 12 kwacha, I said, this is practically impossible.
Whether PF for you, PND,
and I've been vindicated.
Whether PF for you, PND, Dr. Kambwili, was it tenable for this country, in the state of the economy, to put subsidies on fuel and electricity? Was it tenable?
To be a good leader, you must also take into account the living standards of the poor people. Why do we subsidize? Is to cushion the poor people. Today, the poor people, without giving them any facility that will cushion this increment, are now suffering more than they were suffering before the price. That is why we got that 3-kwacha fuel levy, such that when the price goes up, we can use the 3-kwacha to cushion the poor people.
But I'm asking you, was this tenable, especially that Zambia was sitting at a $14 billion external debt and a 20 billion kwacha internal debt to retirees and pensioners? So these subsidies, where was government going to continue getting this money? Because you know for a fact, as a seasoned a governor, yourself having sat in parliament, having been minister,
I have told you
that in the last 2 budget cycles, Honorable Kambwili, 90% of whatever income we're getting was going towards emoluments as well as debt financing.
That's what I'm talking about.
So subsidies were not going to be tenable. Whether PF or UPND.
No. We ran these subsidies on fuel. Do you know for how long the price of fuel was stable under PF? Do you know for how long the price of fuel was stable under PF without increment? For 3 years. And the poor people were cushioned. Here it's about
but what happened to debt?
Well, I told you that when all is well, the price is good. We used to collect 3 kwacha per liter to put aside in a sinking fund, such that when the price goes up, we start using that money to subsidize.
Does any sinking fund exist? Because look,
go on. That's the
no. I'll say this. Even we interviewed people under the PF. There was a sinking fund. By then, Minister of Finance had announced that we're putting a sinking fund towards paying the bullet point of the first Eurobond. What we were told after the first cholera disaster is that sinking fund was used.
There was an emergency.
There was used.
There was an emergency.
Look at what happened to the reserves. We were less than 6 weeks of import cover, Dr. Kambwili.
When PF left office, we were at 5 months import cover. 5 months import cover when PF left office. How much are we at today? That's why I'm saying these people cannot be trusted, because they flip-flopped on everything that they promised the people of Zambia. You know that they promised that they were going to have free education from nursery to tertiary education. What is the meaning of the word tertiary? What is the meaning of the word? You and I.
They began to implement the free education. Just look after the announcement of results. They have begun implementing this. They have put out memos on what is to be paid, what is not to be paid.
You are the same person, Costa, who's telling me that subsidies are not sustainable.
Well, I am not. Costa, I am not a politician. I am asking the tenability.
You are the one
of those subsidies.
Do you know what that free education has? Do you know what that free education has translated into? For this financial year, 2022, the government, in order to actualize the budget, which also includes free education, is going to borrow $4.6 billion because somebody was careless. He told the people, I will introduce free education, when he knew that there was no money to introduce free education.
The only question I can ask you is quoting the finance minister and asking you whether you agree or not. They're saying they've removed those subsidies to push in areas like free education, in areas of recruiting 30,000, teachers, 11,200 health workers, which they say they'll recruit in March into June, this year. So
Costa,
you are in disagreement that this is not possible.
It is not correct.
It cannot work.
It is not correct. In fact, to tell you the truth.
But these are the things you were promising.
In fact, to tell you the
promising the people together when you were in the UPND alliance.
Let me tell you one thing, Costa. In fact, to tell you the truth, there is no subsidy that has been removed on fuel. These guys have only increased the price of fuel. It is only yesterday that oil marketing companies were saying, how do we bring in the fuel when you announced that you've removed the duty? Do you know what they did? They issued an instruction that the duty continues being suspended. In the meantime, the price has gone up. So in short, there is no subsidy that has been removed. They've just increased the pump price of fuel. And that is why I'm saying they are inconsistent. You cannot trust them. They are telling people that tighten up your belts because we have to meet the set conditions by the IMF. We've been told to tighten up our belts before. But
the situation would not have been different even had the PF won the election. The PF were quoting the IMF.
Yes, we're quoting the IMF.
The PF were quoting the IMF. The reserves were still bad under the PF. The dollar was still bad under the PF.
Told you.
Poverty was rife under the PF. So these things would have still come. The PF were going to remove subsidies either way. If those were the IMF conditions.
The PF were going to remove subsidies, but gradually. Not at a given time. No. This is an action by capitalists who don't care about the poor people. The PF had a plan, yes. And that is why it took long to agree with the IMF, because we're saying, look, to just remove electricity tariffs and subsidies, to remove subsidies on electricity and subsidies on fuel, at a go will affect the poor people. The hunger situation was going to be worsened. So we're saying, can we agree that at least these are done gradually? So there was these discussions. But our friends, because they don't care about the poor people, they just come and implement and now go in the compound and see how the people are suffering.
If they don't care about the poor people, how come they've increased CDF to 25.7 million? That's a government, surely, Honorable Kambwili, that cares. If they don't care about the poor people, a government that puts up free education is a government that cares. If they don't care about the people, a government that puts sanity and order in markets and bus stops where people are being beaten day and night by PF thugs is a government that cares for the people.
That's why I'm saying the problem with you reporters, you are so scared about governments in power. And I'm
asking you questions of haven't we seen sanity return?
You are speaking like government. Where have you seen this sanity?
Are people being beaten by cadres?
Too much. People are being beaten up to now.
Like you
PF covers, whether it is the same level or it's not at the same level, people are being
Has
beaten.
it reduced?
It has reduced, yes.
So you can accept that, but they are working towards bringing sanity.
What is that?
Which your party? The insanity which your party left?
I'll leave you to talk if you want to talk while I'm talking. If you want to talk while I'm talking, I'll leave you to talk. Because when you ask a question, you give me time to explain. Now, if I'm talking, you're also talking. Then we are not conversating. So can we give one another chance to explain?
Go ahead.
I was saying this issue that they are saying there is no capitalism in the markets anymore. It's not true. Just 2 days ago, I was watching on what is this? This TV for Pastor Chiluba, Kamne TV. Here, where cadres wanted to take over a cooperative, a market cooperative, that they start running it, where they sell timber. And there was almost a near punch-up. So when we say this cadreism is only not there in the mouth of President Hakainde Hichilema and not in reality. I was in Eastern Province. You know what the people in the UPND cadres are doing at Petauke? All the buses that are going to Chipata, Whether there are people disembarking at Petauke or not, they turn those buses to go into Petauke town. They collect 60,000 from each bus, and then they let the bus go. So that has not stopped. There are a lot of cadres who are collecting money in the markets, UPND cadres. And that is the problem with our brother Hagainde Hichilema. He says one thing when they are doing the other thing. So, this issue of cadreism has not come to an end completely. Look, the other week,
could you say there's progress? It's a gradual, exercise, gradual progress.
We want it to come to an end completely. The issue of cadreism, stopping cadreism can be done today. If the UPND can send the police and say, whoever you find in the market, arrest. Have you ever heard that instruction? No instruction has been given. Nobody has been arrested. Those who are collecting money in the markets and at the bus station, which means they are tolerating it. But they want to create an impression to the whole world that they are doing better than PF, when in actual fact, they are also behaving exactly the way PF cadres behaved. And that is why, given another chance as PF, will do better, because we have now seen and realized that certain things should never be done.
Do you admit that there was lawlessness?
Yes, there was. Yes, there was.
You agree that there was arrogance under the PF?
Yes, there was.
You agree that the poor people were marginalized?
Yes.
You agree.
That is why the people of Zambia voted PF.
So what makes...
So when they vote you out...
Now you're the one who don't want me to ask.
It's a time to reflect.
Now you're the one who... So I was leading you somewhere. So if you agree those things, what convinces you that the Zambians want PF back, after putting them through so much hardship in the last, 10 years?
PF made mistakes like cadreism. There's a little bit of arrogance from some of the government officials. But when you look at a larger picture, the development that PF has brought to this country is unprecedented. Now, if PF can go back to the people, we go back to the people and tell him, we are sorry, people of Zambia, and will not do those wrong things that they are doing, I don't think the people of Zambia would reject the PF. Looking at the massive development and the plan that we had. I told you when I lastly appeared on TV that the PF had a plan. The plan was that in the first 15 years, we're going to concentrate on infrastructure development. Because there is no investor who is going to come to an area where there is no hospital, there is no clinic, there is no schools, there is no electricity. From 1,200 megawatts of electricity that PF found, we are now producing over 2,000 megawatts of electricity. Here in Lusaka today, if PF did not do the roads, people could have been going to work with bicycles. We have so many vehicles, but there are so many roads that have been expanded, dual carriageways, new ring roads being built. Can you imagine that 5 years ago, with the roads that we had, or 10 years ago, people could have been driving in Lusaka?
But at what cost compared to the quality of the roads?
Well, the roads have been built.
And these are things you condemned yourself.
Some of the roads, yes, some of the roads were substandard, I agree.
And the prices were overinflated. You gave examples.
You see, that is why I'm saying this government, which is here today, is worse than what was obtaining in the PF. They condemned that you cannot spend $1 million per kilometer, $1 million per kilometer. Today they've signed a contract to do 200 kilometers of roads in Western Province and some part of Copperbelt and Northwestern at $1.8 million per kilometer. That's why I said, let me get out of this quagmire that I want to involve myself into and go back to PF, work on the mistakes that we're making as PF, start listening to the people, respect the Zambian people, stop cadreism, and we continue with the development trajectory.
It's not magic or simple science, Honorable Kambwili, that people will just, believe anybody who comes back and says, we are sorry, we did this, because power corrupts, and that's what we've seen when people are in leadership. Why are you saying your friends stop listening? You said these words. Your friends stop listening. So what is it going to take in this rebrand, and especially that you feel you are the right person to lead as PF president? What will it take? We've seen the MMD booted out of power. They've literally failed to come back. They're on their knees. We saw UNIP. Now it's the PF. How will the PF situation be different from MMD and UNIP?
Because in PF we are reasonable. Because in PF we are reasonable. Reasonable in that we have to unite. When you unite, nothing is impossible. You saw that in the MMD there were too many divisions. You saw that in UNIP there were too many divisions. But as PF we are trying by all means to avoid the divisions so that we speak as a unit. We talk as one. And the people of Zambia will believe in us. Costa, moving out of government is not the end of the world. In fact, developed countries like the UK, America, there are only 2 political parties that exchange coming into government and getting out of government. Because when you are out of government, it gives you an opportunity to reflect on the mistakes that you are making. And when you come back as a better, well-organized
But what we've
government.
seen in those examples you've given is that these parties have got mechanisms of leadership succession. I mean, even if you look at the UK, it's been smooth from John Major into the Gordon Browns. You look at the Blairs, you look at Cameron, and all this. But let me take an example of the PF itself. You are still stuck in the thing of where, even when we started, you were talking about new members to come and hijack the party. It's always about Vasateo Bashiride. It's always about those who started with Vasata.
No, you are missing the point.
Just hold on.
You are missing.
Is there
Let me correct.
Is there room for growth for you to have new membership in the PF that never started with Vasata?
Let me correct that. I did not say people who should ascend to the presidents should be people Vasata left. I said...
No, you didn't say that.
Yeah.
You didn't
I
say
said
that. It's me,
we don't want...
It's me who's saying
yes, that. The rationale behind Article 52 was to make people stay a little bit longer, about 5 years. Minimum 5 years, in order for them to understand what the party believes in.
I don't want to...
So that
let me ask my question this one. Yeah. As the PF goes into a rebrand, you're supposed to have a convention. And should you be leader, aren't you looking that this country is youthful? Is the PF only going to have the same old guard with... Because you hear this in the PF. The PF is so protective over those 4 of us, those who work with us. So what about new membership?
Today,
to rebrand, what about new faces?
Today, when you go into parliament, the PF parliament, 80% of the PF MPs today are very youthful. 80% of the PF MPs are very youthful. When you go to the structures that were ushered in prior to the 2021, you'd find there are a lot of new faces. That does not mean that those who started with Mr. Sata should only be the ones to ascend to the leadership of the PF. Anybody can ascend to the leadership of the PF. And obviously, democracy entails that there must be elections. There must be intra-party elections. And when you go for intra-party elections and the people decide to vote the old guards, that is democracy. You cannot start excluding them and say, no, you cannot continue. But if the grassroots, the people who are mandated to vote leaders in PF want to elect somebody old, so be it. What is important is the leadership at the top to change. For instance, President Edgar Lungu has left the party. So whoever is going to come and be president will have to have a vision. And that is a vision that everybody must buy into.
Do you feel, and I'll ask this candidly, do you believe that President Lungu has really bowed out and left? Because sentiments reaching us, we're being told that the president has just stepped aside, for a while. He's just stepped aside for a while, there are those who also believe that President Lungu should come back in 2026 and he has a role to play. What do you feel as a senior member
I
of the
have
party?
never heard President Lungu say that he wants to come back.
There are those who feel he should come back.
Well, I will not comment on issues that I don't know. But what I can say is that President Lungu is a statesman. He has decided to step down. But before he steps down, he has said he wants to lead the party into the convention and hand over the presidency. But in the meantime, he has taken a back seat to allow the other leaders to run the party. That's being a statesman.
Finally,
that's being a statesman.
Finally, why do you democratically feel and personally obligated to rescue the PF in this rebrand process? Why you and not support other people?
I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience. And I have a vision where to take this country to. What this country needs is industrialization, period. We don't need to listen to other people to come and tell us how to run our country. We have been disappointed in the past by
Your business is our baby. Advertise on Southern Classic Media and reach out the masses. Call us on 0967 667168 or 0965 349194. Remember, advertising is not only an expense, it's also an investment.
Southern Classic Media.
Best station that plays you nothing but the best music.